Hi everyone, my name is Steph, this is the Novelty Corner and welcome to a Books Beside My Bed video. If you're new here, I film one of these every week where I wrap up the last 7 days worth of reading, and for anyone who's very familiar with this series, welcome back. I am going to be talking about some of the books that I have read this week in this particular wrap up, but Victoria did go back into lockdown, and to cope I started filming a vlog, including some reading. So I'm going to talk about 3 books in this video, and then I'm going to talk about 4 books in a vlog, which is going to come out hopefully around Wednesday. Before I forget, if you would like to give me feedback on how my channel is doing, there is a survey link in the description, so please feel free to fill that in and give me any feedback or suggestions or things that you would like to see in the future. Otherwise, we're just going to start talking about the books. So this is my reading week from the 11th until the 17th of July. I've read a total of 7 things this week, and I'm going to be talking about 3 of them in this video. Those 3 texts equate to approximately 788 pages, and my yearly reading total is 275 books. I haven't included the reading totals for the other books because I'll include those stats at the end of my reading vlog. In case you're wondering the kinds of things that will be popping up in the reading vlog, I have 2 Lillian Lark books. I have 3 of Hearts and Stalked by the Kraken, which are her paranormal romance books. I did read Tangled Wires in my recent Weird and Wacky Kindle Unlimited romance vlog. I'll leave that linked on the screen. I really am enjoying her writing, so I've decided to go back and read the other things that she's read. So far, I think I've got 1 more romance left to read. I think it's more of a dark taboo romance, but we'll see when I pick that up. I also read 3 Simple Rules by Nikki Sloan, and I am currently in the process of reading The Empire Strikes Back from a Certain Point of View, which is the 40th anniversary anthology of short stories featuring all the side characters from the original Star Wars films. I will talk about all of those in more depth in that reading vlog, so once that goes up, I will also add that link to the screen. In terms of what I am going to be talking about this week, I'm really excited because I reread one of my favourite books. That is Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. Now, if you haven't heard my history with this particular book, I was not a huge reader in primary school and early secondary school. I enjoyed reading, but I just didn't gravitate towards picking up books. And in year 7 and 8, my family had moved to Sydney, so I didn't really know very many people, and I spent quite a bit of time hiding in the library, as you do when you don't know anyone in a school and you're an awkward teenager. And I stumbled across the book Jurassic Park. Now, at this point, I had never seen it because, ironically, for the types of shows that I watched with my family, Jurassic Park was never on that list because it was too scary. But I recognized the title, I knew it was a movie, and I picked the book up and I started reading it and I loved it. And then I went on to read The Lost World and loved that as well. So I have a long history with this book and it's really close to my heart. Ezra and I are reading this, and we're going to have a live show where we talk about it because we both have fond memories of the story, and I'm hoping to rewatch Jurassic Park in the next little while before that live show. As soon as I have all the details for that, I'll let everyone know. But in case you are unfamiliar with the book Jurassic Park, the film is actually quite a faithful adaptation of the story, although there are some differences. It is the story of a very wealthy man who dreams of opening a park of dinosaurs as an amusement park for people. John Hammond in the film is quite a kind-hearted and almost sympathetic character, and in the book he's really less sympathetic because he's very determined to see his goal through by any means necessary. So even when things start to go wrong, he's still determined that, oh, that's just a little minor thing. Before starting this project, he consulted a range of people, including mathematicians and paleontologists. And at the start of this book, there have been mysterious attacks by strange unknown lizards in Costa Rica. In order to stave off those rumors, John invites some of those consultants for a sneak preview of his amusement park project. This includes most of the major characters that you know from the films, and they go there and they're all astounded that there are these living, breathing dinosaurs. And then of course there is a major storm that rolls in and isolates this island, and they're all stuck there as the power goes out and suddenly the dinosaurs get loose. The first 100 pages of this is really quite dense. It is a very heavy science fiction book, but I also found it really interesting. And then of course once you get into all the action, it is a really fantastic read. If you like science fiction based on Earth, if you like dinosaurs, if you like action adventure stories, this is definitely worth checking out. And if you've seen the film but not read the book, it's well worth reading it because there is so much more to this story, and it does really create this well-rounded, sort of crazy, chaotic world where dinosaurs have returned. I also read this for the Tarot Readathon, so I ticked that one off my list. Another one for the Tarot Readathon was Growing Up African in Australia. This is a non-fiction anthology of short stories and short essays. This book features a range of authors who all identify as part of the African diaspora, and they are incredible and hard-hitting and thought-provoking and confronting. It is all about how their experiences growing up within Australia as either Africans or descendants of Africans within this country affected them, and it's definitely a very interesting read. Maxine Benebit Clark is the editor. She's done a fantastic job. The actual collection of stories is amazing. There are so many of them. There are some familiar names in there for me, but also most of them I have not heard of, and so it was really humbling and enlightening to read their stories. This is the fourth of the Growing Up in Australia anthologies that I have read, and each one is just a book that I treasure because it opens up a completely different experience than I have had, and it makes me think and question and all of those things that we should be doing. This is one that I will come back to, and I know it's one that I will be recommending to the Year 5-6 teachers at the school, because there are definitely some stories in here that would be really great for those kids to unpack at school. It's definitely something that teenagers and up could read, and it does provide a lot of insight. So this series and this book in particular is well worth checking out. I'm so glad that I finally read it. I should have read it earlier. And then there is What Happened to You by James Catchpole and illustrated by Karen George. This is a children's picture book that I was sent to review by Ellen and Unwin. I did request it. It is the story of Joe, who has only one leg, and every time he goes out, he's always asked the same questions. What happened to his leg? But Joe doesn't necessarily want to answer that question, and so he starts countering with other questions. This book is really beautiful because it's all about children learning how to interact with people who are different from them, and also learning that there are some questions that people get sick of being asked, and they find their common ground, and they find the things that actually move beyond what your physical appearance is, and how they make connections and how they play together regardless of that. And it was just absolutely stunning. I am going to have a written review go up on my blog very soon for it. I'm so glad that I read this, and I cannot wait to share it with my students, because I think it's a really great starting point for talking about how we respect everyone and how it's not their responsibility to explain everything to us. So I was really, really pleased to receive this, and I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to review it. So that is everything that I read this week. This is a short books beside my bed video. Stay tuned for my vlog on Wednesday, where I'll be talking about the other books that I have read. Hopefully there'll be at least one other book in the list that I mentioned earlier. In the comments, I would love for you to share what you have been reading, or if you've read any of the books that I have, I would love to discuss them with you. If you want to let me know that you're here but you don't want to leave a comment, feel free to leave me a T-Rex emoji. Keep an eye on my community page, because that's where I'll be sharing when and where the Jurassic Park live show will be. It'll either be later this month or sometime early in August. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye everyone.